Hey, what's up? This is Sal Brucculeri from CaptiveComics.com and SeeYouNextTues.com, and you're listening to the Comic Relief Podcast.
Hey listener, welcome to the Comic Relief Podcast.
Hope you survived the experience.
The Comic Relief Podcast is an unscripted discussion about the pop culture surrounding comic books with your hosts,
Uncanny Thomas Logue
and Mighty Michael Miranda. All right, welcome back to the Comic Relief Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Thomas today. We're going to discuss a few things. It's going to be a little different this time. We're going to be talking poll lists. We're going to be doing some top fives. And we're also going to be interviewing Mr. Salvatore Brucculeri from Captive Comics. So thank you for listening. And let's, how you doing today, Tom?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Such a nice young man.
I do try.
All right, so today we're going to be talking poll lists. What have you been reading, sir?
So I'll start off with Amazing X-Men. Have you been reading that as well?
Absolutely. All
right, so let's hear your thoughts first.
So,
like how I deflected that?
Yeah.
Let's go with you first.
Yeah, that's good. So as we all know in comics, and with the X-Men especially, nobody stays dead forever. So the team of X-Men, Wolverine, Beast, Firestar, who is now an X-Men, which surprisingly was introduced in the X-Men comics, but has never actually been a member until now.
Now, exactly.
Yeah, cool. And then they also have Northstar, Storm, and did I mention Iceman already? They actually go into heaven and hell, into the afterlife, to search for Nightcrawler.
He was killed needlessly, I might say.
Come on, I mean, if you're just going for a wow factor, it's just please don't.
I think every event now, they quote unquote have to do a wow factor, apparently. Yeah. They can't just have a big event. Someone has to die.
Yeah. So they have to kill somebody. Yeah. And you know they're going to bring that person back somehow, some
always.
Way. I'm glad they're finally bringing Nightcrawler back. I love Nightcrawler. He's an awesome character. Great look. Great story. I mean, great origin. He's a really cool character, and I like the story so far, man. It seems like a really cool adventure.
I agree. It reminds me, did you get a chance to ever read the Nightcrawler 4-issue limited series?
I did not.
It's the whole pirate thing and all that stuff?
No, I did not. Yeah.
When they did this story, there's elements of that because the Bamps are there. There's the whole pirate theme once again.
Oh, yeah. It's heavy on the pirate theme.
Yeah, very heavy on the pirate theme.
Very on the swashbuckling, which is a great way to bring Nightcrawler back.
Yes.
That's awesome.
The story, to me, feels like classic Uncanny X-Men. It's written kind of fun. It's written kind of lighthearted.
It's a good adventure. The X-Men get taken out of their element. A third of the team is in heaven. A third of the team is in hell. And the other third is in purgatory. I'm enjoying it. It's a good read.
Maybe we should have started with possible spoilers ahead.
Yeah. By the way, spoiler alert. We're following Thomas's rule of
we do the spoiler after we talk about the whole thing.
If you were to give this a grade, right? What would you grade this book here?
All right, out of 5. I would give it a strong 4.5 to 5.
Yeah.
Because
agreed.
Like I said, it's written very fun. It's very lighthearted. It reminds me of what I always liked about Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
It brought in Firestar, who I've always liked. I've liked Firestar since Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. You know,
Super Friends. Was it Super Friends?
No, Amazing Friends.
Amazing.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Super Friends is totally just something else.
Yeah.
And then I got to enjoy Firestar more in New Warriors because she was a key character in the New Warriors. So seeing her in the X-Men was like, oh, that was really cool. She's just not somewhere out there not being used.
I agree. I would give it a solid 4. I think this story is very reminiscent to classic X-Men tales that kind of revolved around Nightcrawler and Storm and Beast and all these guys. I like it. I'd give it a solid 4. And The Amazing X-Men is written by Jason Aaron and illustrated by Ed McGuinness. Ed McGuinness, awesome.
I'm sure you've probably already heard that Chris Claremont is going to be writing a Nightcrawler series. People can mess up Nightcrawler. For a guy that's in a very simple design, he's just blue with that little red V.
Yeah.
So many people have messed that up.
Yeah.
And they do it in his face. Like, I like when they do the dark shadow over his eyes. So it kind of looks like he's wearing like a Zorro mask almost. Probably. I don't like it when they do his whole face blue without that shadow.
Yeah.
That shadow's always been there.
They got to implement elements of shadow when you're dealing with Nightcrawler. I mean, dude disappears in shadows. Yeah, so he lives in the shadows. All right, so what's next, man? What do you got?
Next, we can go to Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
All right, so one of my favorite DC characters got her own ongoing series. Before I get into it, I want to hear your take, because I know Harley Quinn is one of your favorites as well. And you really
DC.
dig her. Yeah.
I dig her a lot.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
So initially, I admit I was concerned. Issue 0, we talked about it before in one of the previous podcasts. It was really jarring. It was really hard to follow. It was kind of everywhere. Some artists were really good, some I didn't like, and the story was kind of out there. And the first couple of issues, I was kind of like, okay, they've made her back to the really, really, really crazy, hard to like kind of Harley Quinn, because she's just so out there. Issue number 4, I loved.
Okay.
Like, she goes to do something and like goes like kind of over the top, but then like, you know, typical Harley from the other comics, like funny stuff happens. She goes to rescue all those pets, and now she has all these dogs and cats in her case.
I think that's actually where I left off. Her and Ivy went to go rescue those pets.
The animals.
Yeah, the animals. Yep.
So there's one more issue after that, and it was really, really well done. So she finds out something as a nurse, and was like, well, I'm going to fix her problem for you. Quote, unquote, fix it. And she goes out and does something, and you're like...
I thought she got her old job back as a psychiatrist.
That's what I mean.
Who the hell hires Harley Quinn as a psychiatrist? Who does not know
who she is?
Who she is. She's a mass murderer, and her name is Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And her alter ego is Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Come on, people. Who still hires this chick? I guess people in the psychiatrist community don't really pay attention to what's going on.
Well, it's crazy. Harley Quinn, usually her hair is kind of like black and red. And now as her shrink self, she's blonde. That's her disguise.
That's her. She put on a pair of glasses and a suit.
That's, you know.
Like,
that's just like Superman. Puts on a pair of glasses. You kind of look like Superman when you take your glasses off, Clark Kent. Yeah. I'm not, really.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Did you just fly into that window?
How did you get in this locked room? You know, she's a really, really far out there character. And in Suicide Squad, she was kind of like, that's where I first fell in love with her, because with Suicide Squad, she was kind of out there, but she was still restrained because she had that freaking nano thing in her neck.
Yeah.
But now without that nano thing, she's just like over the top crazy.
Yeah. out of these issues, I think 0 was probably my favorite.
Really?
Yes. 0 was
We're
out
gonna have
there.
to agree to disagree.
Yeah. So when they did issue 0, they invited a bunch of different artists, you know, well-known artists and some lesser-known artists, and they all did like 2 pages each. Right, so they all kind of did their take, and Harley Quinn broke the fourth wall a little, like Deadpool, where she was talking with the audience, and instead of talking to the voices in her head, it's a beaver, the stuffed beaver that she has, which I get it.
Now you get it.
It's a friggin' beaver, right? So, but that being said, once the story kicks off, I thought the story was a little bit boring, man. I thought the humor was a little bit forced. I have not been enjoying Harley Quinn.
Right.
In other words, it seems like the story is really dragging. So she was essentially in issue 0. She's living in some like storage unit.
Right.
And finds out that she
inherits.
Spoiler alerts, right? If you haven't read them, if you haven't read a
4-month-old issue, here's a spoiler alert.
Exactly. She inherits some property from one of her old patients from when she was a psychiatrist.
Yep.
And so now she has, of course, it can't just be, you know, a house. It's Harley Quinn. So
it's major like, base.
Yeah. So it's a big museum, like a freak show type museum on Coney Island. So in order to maintain it and upkeep it, she has to earn a living. Right, so she does like the whole roller derby thing, earns a few bucks, joins a roller derby team.
Yeah, she's still in that, by the way.
And she's still in that. She still does that, and she got her job back as a psychiatrist. And it seems like it's really dragging on with her trying to figure out how to like earn a living and stuff. I'm not sure how it's doing, sales wise, but I know that I could, at the point where I'm at right now, I could stop reading it, and I don't think I would miss it at all.
That's where sort of I am. Like the 4th issue was a vast improvement to me over the other issues, but the Harley Quinn that I liked was the Suicide Squad Harley Quinn. You know, she was crazy, but she was still a little reserved. Humor wasn't like so far out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because with this one, it's really far out there. She's got the talking beaver. You know, she's got like a whole freaking museum full of animals. I enjoyed more the darker, kind of more serious, I guess, Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad.
I do like her to be, I hate to say it, but almost closer to how the Joker is. Because the Joker, he's He's a clown. Yeah, he's silly. He does crazy. He has slapsticky type humor as well, but you never take it for granted that he is a complete psychopath.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with Harley Quinn, I don't get that same feeling. They try to go for that.
Right.
They try to go for that. You know, she's slapsticky and funny, but she'll smash your head with a mallet. But it I don't know. It just
doesn't come off as a serious threat.
Yeah, as a serious threat. Yes, exactly.
Like if Joker shows up, bad things are about to happen. If Harley Quinn shows up, just weird stuff is about to happen.
Yeah,
people are going to die, but it's going to be weird. I would probably give it like 3 out of 5. It's not great. It's not bad. It could still improve. Like there is a hope for improvement. Like I said, the 4th issue was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I also think there's a lot of promise. I mean, Harley Quinn is an awesome character. They can do so much more better. I would give it a 2 at this point.
What do you got next?
All right. So next, actually we'll go with the New Warriors.
Okay.
So the New Warriors are back. And shouldn't they just be called the Warriors at this point?
Well, technically new, because it's there's half the team is all new.
Oh, phew. Anytime you launch a new team, they could be the new whatever.
Well, that's why it's always like the new Teen Titans are around. Then they become Teen Titans, and then eventually they become Titans, and then they relaunch it back to new Teen Titans.
Okay, right on. They stuck with the team. They stuck with the name. This time we have Speedball, Justice, Nova, Sungirl, Scarlet Spider has joined the team, and Hummingbird. And is written by Chris Yost.
You're missing someone. The Inhuman dude. Hachi or whatever?
Yes.
Haichi?
Yes.
I don't know how to pronounce his name properly.
I don't know how to pronounce the name either. Yeah, you're right. And he's on the cover too. So this time the New Warriors are getting back together, and I gotta tell you, man, I'm enjoying the first couple issues. I like the interaction between Speedball and Justice.
Yes.
See now this humor, this dialogue does not seem forced. It seems very natural. They go back and forth.
The bantering
is silly. I like it. It still feels natural. I like it.
It feels like it's part of the character, and it fits the character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very first issue where they show up to a city and they're met by a team of like
Salem 7.
The Salem 7, right? Yeah. The magic team. And they just immediately start fighting.
Yeah,
right? Because that's what you do. You know what I mean? That's what in comic books, when one team meets another team, there's no questions.
There's no questions. It doesn't matter.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then towards the end of the fight, they're like, why are we fighting? And it's like, I don't know. I thought you guys were the bad guys. We thought you guys attacked us. So.
Yeah, you guys attacked us first.
Yeah. And the fight just kind of ends like that. And
and it's all because of Speedball, because he saw Bruticus or whatever his name is, and just he was all fangy and pointy, he said. So he looked like a bad...
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he said too, right? Yeah. Yep. I thought that was pretty funny. That was pretty good.
This New Warriors, for the first time in a long time, actually feels like how the original New Warriors felt. This team of new people with like a lot of banter. They're not always too experienced. They kind of sometimes just jump into a situation without fully knowing what's going on. And it feels like right again. Like, and the art is good, the writing is good, everything is just... For me, this is like a great series.
Oh yeah. I agree. And they're throwing a lot of different elements, which is really cool. They're throwing, they were in the Morlock tunnels.
Yes.
They're throwing the High Evolutionary. He kind of came out in the X-Men comics for a bit, right?
He's been around for a long time. Yeah.
They're an existing group, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, especially High Evolutionary. He's been around at least as far as I know, since at least 1970.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And what is he preventing? He's preventing the evolution of humans, like mutations and stuff.
He's actually trying to enhance. Like he's trying to make sure that humans survive and continue to survive.
So he's essentially Team Human in the superhero fight, right?
Yes.
In the evolution of superheroes and mutations and all that. He's on Team Human. The story kicks off really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're already in issue 2, and they're already
things are happening.
Deep stuff.
Yeah.
They don't even allow themselves to like get settled in and set up. A majority of the team hasn't even met each other.
Yeah,
yet. They're still kind of split up. Yeah, they're all over the place.
And that's one of the things I like, that the team wasn't just pulled together right at the start.
Yeah.
Because that way we're seeing like each like little member gets spotlight, and you get to learn about each character. So you don't see the whole team operating as one already.
I do kind of like that as well.
Yeah.
I do like that as well. It doesn't seem like forced. It almost seems like it's organic a little bit.
Yeah.
It does seem like Speedball and Justice are trying to get the team together, but too much stuff is happening.
Around
which
them.
Totally goes with their banter and their personality and them not having any control of situations. Yeah. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. And Where's Namorita, by the way, in the whole Marvel view?
So in the Marvel Universe, right before, what the event that triggered Civil War, she perished.
Oh.
She goes to hit Nitro and slams him up against the bus. And he goes, "You don't know what you've just done." And he goes, boom, and then kills 600 people and incinerates. One of them. Yeah, incinerates Namorita and another New Warrior dude named Microbe. So they gone.
We do have an Atlantean on the team, right? Has
yes.
she joined officially?
No, because she just fought
the Scarlet
Spider and Hummingbird, and then the whatever they're called, the Evolutionaries, they showed up.
Okay, so that's where
popped out of the water.
That's right. That's right. So this Atlantean that we have, her name is
Water Snake.
Water Snake. I was gonna say Sea Snake. Water Snake. Yeah. Right. So have we seen Water Snake in other comics, or is this a new?
This is
character?
brand new.
All right, cool.
What's interesting is that Jason Aaron is going to be leaving Amazing X-Men, and Christopher Yost is going to be taking over Amazing X-Men.
Oh, cool.
And so he had tweeted, said, "What? Did I just take over Amazing X-Men? And it has Firestar on the team?" So I'm curious if he's going to do something. Like if he's going to yank Firestar off Amazing and put her in New Warriors.
In the New Warriors?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he's excited about the fact that he's going to be writing Firestar.
I don't know. That's speculation, though,
yeah,
right?
That is speculation, but it's just what he tweeted. So.
That'd be funny if Firestar finally gets on, makes it on the X-Men team and then back onto the New Warriors.
They could write it where it would make sense. I mean, pure speculation. Like they went into heaven and hell, and she could be like, "Yeah, this is a little too much." Because even during the New Warriors, she flew out in space and like that, but never went to heaven and hell.
Yeah,
you go to heaven and hell, that kind of shakes your foundation.
That was like the first day on the
job,
job,
and that's the whole thing. Like an Amazing X-Men, she's like, "I'm just supposed to be here to teach. This is all I'm supposed to do. Is I'm just supposed to be a teacher."
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what they do or what he does when he takes over.
And okay, also you have a second podcast coming up. Did you want to plug that?
Oh yeah, so myself, Corey, and Doug are going to be doing a New Warriors based podcast called the Crash Pod, because New Warriors base originally was called the Crash Pad.
That's brilliant.
It's brilliant, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And that Doug gets all the credit for that, because I said we should call it the Crash Pad, because that's like their base and stuff. And then Doug goes, "What about the Crash Pod?" And I was like, "That's
boom.
It. That's it. Like boom. I nailed it."
Drop the mic. That was walk away.
So yeah, we'll be doing that.
So give me a list of the sites here. It's newwarriors.com.
I run newwarriors.com. Doug is responsible for www.novaprimepage.com, and then Corey runs newwarriors.wordpress.com, and that's the New Warriors continuity.
The New Warriors continuity conundrum.
Yeah, I can't even say that word.
It's a hard word.
Thank you.
It's a $3 word. You know what I mean? And then also keep an ear out for the Crash Pod.
All right, and so that's it for the New Warriors Crash Pod. What do you got next?
Actually, what would you give this New Warriors? What grade would you give it? No problem.
I would actually grade this a 5.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm like really digging it. Like it feels like the original Warriors. Like, there have been too many versions of the New Warriors that haven't felt right. The second volume felt pretty close, but the third and fourth did not really feel it at all. Finally, this one actually feels like the New Warriors. We got new heroes again. The team is like slowly coming together. The art is great. So I'm giving this one a 5. Okay.
I'll give it a 4.
I disagree. It's a 5.
Moving on. No, it's. I can honestly say that I look forward to reading the next issue. It's a good read. It hasn't necessarily blown my mind to give it a 5 yet, but I'm really enjoying it for being a team of characters that I'd never really paid attention to when I was, growing up reading comics.
Yeah.
It's a very cool team. They got some good dynamics, and I'm looking forward to this series. Yeah.
What I want to talk about next is Wonder Woman. So I know before I had said, like, initially I didn't pick it up because I wasn't too much a fan of the art. Even though I love the character. Like, I've always enjoyed, like, strong female characters. Sure. It's cool to see when a strong woman steps up and was like, you know what, I'll play with the big boys too. Yeah.
That is respected too. I mean, that is very well respected.
Very.
She's up there, Superman, what I mean? Superman, iconic. Wonder Woman, she's Justice League.
Material.
A-list material, totally.
I didn't give it a shot initially because I was like, the art's not that great to me. When I read it, I quickly found that the art didn't matter. Like, the art actually started to really fit the theme of the comic. They've made her a really, really strong character. Like, her story is always moving forward. Like, there's this huge overarching story that's still going on, but it feels like it's progressing. It doesn't feel like it's dragging. Like, every time there is like a chapter and it's moving forward. This is a really, 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 really good comic. Like,
Nice,
I'm really impressed by it.
Sounds good. So what would you give this, what grade would you give it?
I would give Wonder Woman a 5.
No,
like,
no way.
Seriously, I would have felt stupid missing this because I wasn't initially a fan of the art.
Did it take a while for it to pick up steam? Or it was just really the art that kept you from just totally being, into it?
It was initially the art. When I looked at the cover of Wonder Woman, like, there wasn't a lot of detail on her face and body. She's just kind of jumping through the air. And I was like, But when you read it, it actually complements the story. Like, the story fits the art. I'm just really impressed. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm going to have to check it out. Okay, next on my list is Moon Knight. So another one of these characters that I was familiar with,
right?
Growing up reading comics, but I never actually ended up picking up a Moon Knight issue.
Right.
The character always intrigued me, though. It's Mark Spector. Mark Spector?
It's either Mark Spector. I think it is Mark Spector.
It's
either Mark Spector or Mark Spencer. I can't remember.
I want to say it is Spector.
Yeah, okay. I think it's Spector.
So, multiple personality disorder, right? Still, yeah.
Dude still has issues.
Yeah, so dude has a lot of issues, but it's written by Warren Ellis.
Oh,
great writer. So I'm looking forward to see where he goes with it. The first issue so far is very good. We haven't really gotten too much into the different personalities or the origin of Moon Knight or anything like that.
Cool.
He's just kind of tracking down, this dude that's been murdering people. So a little bit of the detective kind of touch to it. And Moon Knight's always been criticized of being the Batman of Marvel, right? Yeah. Except he's all white as opposed to being all black. So far, it's really cool. I can't honestly give it anything past a 3 right now because it's only been
first
issue, an introduction, but Warren Ellis at the helm, I think it has a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward to reading it. So I'd give it a solid 3.
And I think that's probably a good idea that they don't start with all the multiple personalities, because if you're going to bring in new readers with a number 1 who may not be familiar with Moon Knight, you probably don't want to confuse your initial reader by going, oh, by the way, he has 3 different personalities. The moon talks to him from time to time and yells at him and stuff like that. So
throwing all the Egyptian lore and all that stuff. It's a lot. I mean, they do kind of touch on it a little bit, but yeah, it's not overwhelming.
That's good though. That's really good for a first issue.
Yep, and they don't really hint at much of this stuff until the end. Total millionaire by day and
vigilante by night.
Yeah, which is really cool. But I don't know, it's funny. I think it's funny. He rides around in a limo, which is
nice,
which is pretty cool. Even when he's out crime fighting, I'm looking forward to reading it. It's another one of these characters that I hope gets a good treatment. And they're, Warren Ellis again is at the helm, so hopefully he turns into one of these C or B listers that gets pushed up into some higher tier stuff.
My first exposure to Moon Knight was in Avengers 211, I want to say. There was an issue where they just recruited a bunch of heroes to try to make a roster to apply to become Avengers or whatever. And I was like, oh, this dude, he looks actually really cool. I've never seen him before. To me, he always seemed like he would have been a good Avenger.
I do think that he has the potential to be a street level vigilante up in the tier with Daredevil. I can see how they would keep him off the team because with the multiple personalities, it can get. I can see how he cannot be. He's his own team.
But that would, you would think that would be he's his own team.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So yeah, I'd give it a solid 3 with potential and expectations for some good writing. Are you reading Origin 2?
The Wolverine one, right?
The Wolverine one, yes.
I am not.
You know what? I like it. It's a really good book. I don't like where Wolverine is at right now, being the headmaster of the school and a teacher and all that. So boring, man. That's not Wolverine. You're taking him out of character.
I agree. They've turned him into a pansy.
They turned him into a huge pansy, man. He's no longer the berserker wild card of the team. Now he's the leader and the headmaster of the school and a teacher and a disciplinarian, and he's he's disciplining other X-Men, telling them you're a teacher or whatever. And he's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Dude, go kill somebody.
Go do what you do, the best that you do thing.
Yeah, exactly. But Origin 2 goes, did you read the Origin story?
I read the original one, yes.
Okay, cool. Well, this takes place shortly after. Wolverine is essentially out in the wilds of Canada. He teams up with a pack of wolves. I like the story because it's very, very little dialogue. You know what I mean? It's just kind of him out in the wilderness. You really don't even hear him speak too much. It goes back to a very simple, wild, savage story, and it's paced really well. I really like it. It's a really earthy, I don't want to say it's a classic Wolverine tale because there's no such thing as a classic Wolverine tale, but it's a very good origin story. I like it so far. And I would give it about a 3.75. So
with Origins 2, he's still no adamantium, right? right?
No adamantium.
Still bones.
Yep, he's still bones. This is pre-Weapon X. This is still in set in the 1800s.
Next, I have ElfQuest. So, second issue just came out. First issue was really good because it kind of touched on each of the tribes where they were. Kind of like what I like about New Warriors, like this tribe's over here, this tribe's over here. The second issue, however, just focused pretty much on one tribe. And the thing with Wendy Penny, like with her writing and her art, she can usually make an insignificant character die and still make it really heroic. In the original quest, I'm not going to say who it is because you're reading it still. You're like on issue 3 or 4 now, and you've had it for like 6 months. Whatever. I'm just kidding. But someone who's not even really in the comic that much does something and is quite heroic. They die, and it's like a big deal. Like like this is hardly a character that's been in just a couple issues, but when she dies, you're like, dude.
I think that's a testament to good writing, man.
Yeah,
I mean, to make you care about a character that's
barely in it.
Yeah, barely in it.
Yeah,
and actually to make it feel like emotional, like it's a significant loss. That's huge.
In the second issue, someone dies, and it felt like when I read it, it felt hollow. Like I was like, eh.
Oh, really?
Like there was no like watery eyes or me going, oh my god, And it's not because it's not a character that I don't care about, because it's a character I normally did not care about in the ElfQuest universe. But like when the other person in the original quest died, like I said, she was pretty much a brand new character, and she does something. When she dies, I was like, holy crap.
It does feel significant and heroic.
Yeah, there was impact right there. And I'm sure like it's a setup for something else, because when she does die, she tells someone else something, and they're like, oh, that's kind of significant. But like her death is just meh.
How many issues are they going into this final quest?
I think it's going to go 20. I think
maybe 20 part.
20 is what I believe it is. I could be wrong though.
Oh, so they're giving this final quest
a big long run.
Big long run.
Yes. If I were to rate the series
so far, right?
Yeah, so far I would probably give it a 4, because it's still ElfQuest, it's still Wendy Penny's art, but it would have probably been like a 4.75. But issue number 2, it didn't sit well with me, and like I said, not because I'm upset that they killed a character I like or anything like that. It just, the death just felt plain, kind of like when they shot Nomad in the back. Totally insignificant, but it happened.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Hey.
So I got the new Punisher, the Punisher in LA. It's tough to write a character like the Punisher
who just goes around shooting.
I mean, it's
not a lot of development there.
Yeah, but you know what? You have to be able to write any character you got.
Yeah.
I do like him in LA. Not seeing him in New York is kind of weird. So it does feel like the LA references are pushed a little bit,
kind of forced. Like, I am in LA.
Yeah, like he's stuck in traffic. He's stuck on the 405. It's like, okay,
you see him driving by the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, so he's tracking down some drug trading that went on in New York, and he's kind of tracing it back to the cartels. And we do see some appearances from some of the bigger names in the Marvel universe
who are in LA.
Yeah, who are in LA. The Howling Commandos come out, which I think is pretty, that's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting them at all. 80
years old?
Yeah, they're older dudes too. In the issue, they're even like these grizzly older guys.
Cool. That's
pretty cool. So they're kind of just, I believe they're hired to kind of root him out to find the Punisher, because the Punisher's in LA and stuff. I give it a 3 because I get it that Punisher's a tough character to write, but it shouldn't be. I mean, there's so many other characters that are so much like the Punisher, but that are written better. Like, I mean, you can write a cool story, comes in, kick, but how often can you just keep doing that over and over?
Right,
and
because
over
I mean, his whole thing is he's the Punisher, right? He goes and he kills people, or he's just going to always be fighting cartel guys. You know what I mean? Which it's okay. He's shooting a bunch of faceless dudes that I don't know and I don't care about.
Yeah. All right, and my final one is The Walking Dead. Right now, they're going through a major story arc called All Out War. So outside of Washington, D.C., they find a community that was built for politicians, a self-sustaining neighborhood. So the survivors, Rick Grimes and the survivors, found this community. They're embraced by the community. And being that he was a sheriff, they actually make him the sheriff of the town.
It's like a Western.
Yeah, except it's almost like Mayberry type town.
Oh, Mayberry.
After finding this community, they find out through the members of this community that there are other communities So there's a network of communities out there. There's one community out of these guys that's led by a dude named Negan, who is a...
What's his name?
Negan. Negan.
Oh, okay.
Negan. And he is a bad mofo. Like bad mofo, like greased hair, leather jacket, and he has a bat that's wrapped in a barbed wire. What he does is he controls these communities by taxing them. Whatever they find, whatever resources and supplies that they find, he's essentially extorts them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's how he keeps his community. So they're bullied by Negan's community.
Got it.
Because he keeps them under their protection, so he doesn't kill them as long as they provide him with half of everyone's supplies. So the community that they're at has been waiting for someone to just take this dude out. They rally together the other communities that feel the same way and essentially group these communities up, find out who can do what, and go to war with Negan and his people. I can't say enough good things about The Walking Dead. It is a brutal, gut-wrenching story, and it does not let up. I give The Walking Dead, I would honestly say that The Walking Dead from issue 1 to issue 100 and whatever they're on right now, it's been a 5.
What I like about The Walking Dead is I think it writes a lot to how we are as humans. Because given that situation, there's going to be that jerk who's going to do exactly that, totally. Extort people. When there's an apocalypse, we're at our worst. We're not at our best.
That's who survives the apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's who survives the apocalypse, is the dude that's willing to kill you for what you have.
Yeah.
Good people do not survive the apocalypse.
Yeah. They never do.
But there's always an exception, and that exception is, of course, the protagonists of our group. Right. And even then now, even at the beginning, they had this whole "we don't kill humans." You know what I mean? They started off with great intentions, but at this point,
that
even
has to change. Yeah.
They had to change. They had to adapt. But yeah, Negan is the perfect person to survive in this situation, right? You could have people that prepare for something like this, right? That just hoard and
build a bunker
and all that, and all they're doing is holding the supplies for the asshole who comes with the gun, essentially, and kills him and takes it, and now it's his. It's a good book. Some people complain that zombies have kind of taken a huge backseat. They've become kind of the background of The Walking Dead. But I do like the fact that in a zombie apocalypse, humans are as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than the zombies themselves. Because the type of person that does survive a zombie apocalypse is not a
generous person.
A generous, nice person. This is a survivor.
For people who complain that the zombies have taken a back seat, to me it should always be about the people trying to survive. Yeah. If they die, they rise up as a zombie.
Even if they're not bitten. So if you get shot and you bleed out, you're coming back as a zombie. Yeah.
And so it still maintains to the title of The Walking Dead, because everyone who's alive is essentially a walking person. Dead.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they die, they're coming back.
And that was a big reveal in the comics where Rick Grimes turns to the rest of the group and says, "We are the Walking Dead."
Yeah.
That's like the big dun 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 dun. Yeah. And when I read that, it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's a cool twist.
Yep.
So that's our pull list section.
We'll do different ones every time we do a podcast. Yeah. We'll talk about different titles.
Yep. All right. So today we have a very special guest on the podcast today. We have writer and creator Sal Brucculeri. And he is the writer and creator of a webcomic called See You Next Tuesday. He's also a writer of Soul Men and the upcoming comic Ninja Baseball Man. How you doing today, Sal?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Oh, doing excellent, man. So before we get into your projects and your books, I got a few questions for you, man. What is your background in comics?
Well, actually, I have a TV and film degree. I graduated Rider University in 2010, but the intent was to always learn how to write comics. Obviously, comics isn't a major, so I took the closest thing, which was TV, radio, and film, learned how to do scripts there, and learned a lot about shot composition and things like that, and wanted to take it to comics, and that's what I started doing. So once I graduated in 2010, I started my quest for artists, which is extremely hard. Just looking for artists on forums and things like that. And in 2012, I actually produced my first comic/webcomic one-shot, which was called Mighty KO, Punchman, and Sir. And since then, I've just been working on other things like Soul Men and Ninja Baseball Man. And See You Next Tuesday.
Dude, that's very cool. So most people get into writing to write movies and TV. You got into writing comics.
Yeah, I basically got into writing TV and movies just to go and write comics.
Nice, man. Dig that. Did you grow up reading comics?
Oh yeah, I would say I've been reading comics as long as I can remember. My first comic was actually one of those black and white Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, and then from there, I mean, I found out what Marvel was through the animated X-Men show in the 90s. And from there, like, my parents showed me there's a book, and I was like, oh my god, there's books on this stuff. From there, it was just, X-Men, Batman, Spider-Man. I was actually one of the only kids I knew who actually read Swamp Thing back then, too. Which was
Swamp Thing? Nice, man. And these are the comics that influence your writing now? Batman, X-Men, Swamp Thing?
Absolutely. I mean, all those comics, as far as, like, writing, like, my style, I would say it's definitely a representation of everything that I've read my whole life. I mean, I've always been into, like, Marvel, DC, and a lot of, like, indie stuff. Like, I was, like, the kid in high school who basically found the weird comics or the comics people never heard of and would tell everybody about them.
Oh, right on, man. And what made you decide that you wanted to write as a career?
I think the whole thing was I loved creating. I always had a thing for writing. My parents would always say that I was a good writer. They made me take like a bunch of journalism courses back in high school and you kind of just don't know what you want to do. I never really thought about getting into comics in high school, but I knew that there was a way to do it. And that's where I started looking into like TV and film programs for colleges.
That's very cool, man. Very cool. So let's get into your books here. Let's start off. See You Next Tuesday. You described See You Next Tuesday as being Boardwalk Empire meets Grimm with one tough See You Next Tuesday as the heroine. I gotta tell you, man, I got caught up on the on your story. It is a very cool concept, man. I really dig it.
I really appreciate that. We put me and Ibai Canelas, the artist. We put so much time into this comic. We actually just started it out of nowhere. I've always wanted to do something with the Bride of Frankenstein's monster. I always found the actress was very attractive. Everyone's always doing something with the monsters. They're using Frankenstein, they're using the Mummy and the Wolfman, and you have vampires that are very big. But I was always like, one neglected character is the Bride of Frankenstein's monster. And then another thing I was always into was urban legends and myths and like things like that weird stuff that like, every town has their mystery. And so I was like, well, what if all these mysteries and all these urban legends lived in the same community? So it's, kind of like what they're doing with Grimm, or even like what DC or Vertigo is doing with Fables. I try to stay away from any character used in that whole world. I try to just use like my own thing. And like, we have a character named Robert the Doll who's based off of that doll from Florida who a little boy, I guess was playing with his doll and his parents thought it was his imagination, but if this doll would come to life every so often, or so they say. I thought he was really interesting as far as like a comedy relief, just because if you look at the doll, that's not scary at all.
Yeah, it's a little sailor.
Right, it's a little sailor. So to me, that's not scary. So from there, I was like, all right, let's liven him up. Let's give him a baseball cap. Let's keep the sailor thing. Let's make him a little different. And I have like a character that's like Officer Pigstein, he's actually based off of one of my best friends, and the way he talks and the way he acts. My friend's an NYPD officer. I mean, he's not like fat or looks like a pig or anything. It's just the mentality is based off.
I'm sure he appreciates that depiction, man.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. See You Next Tuesday. I know that a lot of people said my title is very controversial, but I don't know any other way to talk about a tough girl than to call her a See You Next Tuesday.
Cool. And just to fill in the listeners, the story revolves around the Bride of Frankenstein almost being she's a detective, right? Essentially.
Yeah, she's the head detective of the monster community.
And it's got a lot of a noir feel to it, where it's really old timey detective. I mean, Frankenstein, they call him Frankie, and Frankie has put a hit out on the bride, and instead of hitmen, he hires zombies to go out and find her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Walking Dead guy. Like, I've been reading it since the comics. Like, I'm not gonna be one of those posers who say I've been reading it since day one, because I haven't. I've been reading it since about issue like 60 or something like that. But I caught up. But I always thought the zombie idea was cool, and I wanted to incorporate zombies. But I was like, you know what? There's got to be something that controls my zombies to make them different from what Kirkman's doing. And that's where I kind of say, okay, well, the hand who feeds the zombie is who they listen to.
Dude, great move. Great move. I always like when people use zombies in new and different ways, but it doesn't feel forced. I like how you use zombies in your story, man, and it fits really well with the overall feel of it, and how you mentioned the hand that feeds the zombies, and they're not really that dumb, but I mean, like the whole concept is done very well, man. Good job with that.
So in the comic, or in the webcomic, what I do is you're always inside of the bride's head. You're in her brain. You can hear what she's saying, which just gives me my noir feel, plus the black and white. I always think about things when I'm watching something, like, well, why did they do this? Or why did they do that? Like, one thing that a lot of people were just really into, and I was getting a lot of comments on, how she's been doing this countdown, right? So every time a bullet is shot from her gun, she does a countdown. So we all know that like a gun has a certain amount of bullets in the clip. That gets neglected so much in movies and comics to where it's just, shoot, 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 shoot. The only time they run out of bullets is when they need to because the script calls for it.
Yeah, I dug that narrative. I thought that was pretty cool. And then I like how you bookended it at the end by shooting the doll down and just totally saying, hey, I totally... how did you put it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, it was bullet number 7, and it was, it said 7, contradictory to everything I said. Unnecessary, I know, but absolutely worth it. You got to put a little bit of comedy in it, and to me, it's like can't just be noir, noir, noir. You got to lighten the mood, so then when the noir moments happen, you appreciate it.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch, man. That was really nice writing. I thought that it worked out really well. Where the way it was paced was very serious and very informative, real cocky, and then she just at the end she says, "Yep," and now I'm wasting a bullet. I thought it was really good, man. Good stuff.
That was the whole thing. I mean, I had a lot of fun with that, and I know everybody said he had a lot of fun drawing that. These characters we have are unique, and her voice is basically like how I see film and how I see things, and that's her inner voice. As where if you notice in the first page, she doesn't really talk. She doesn't really speak a lot. She only speaks when she has to. I think that's what a smart detective would do because you don't want to ever seem wrong. So the less you speak, the less likely you can be wrong, I think.
Yeah, she's very internalized though. I mean, her mind's always going.
Yes, exactly, and it's funny too because what we have planned and what we've seen is she's doing one action and speaking to people, but she's thinking something else. I think that we do that. Like, if right now I'm sure I'm speaking to you, I'm sure you're thinking about something. Maybe it's not exactly what the interview is, but you're still thinking about something, and that kind of is what happens in the comic.
Oh, absolutely, man. For the listeners out there, you want to read the book, you can find the book at See You Next Tues. And that's the letter C, the letter U, the word next, and the word twos, Tues. So that's CUNEXTUES.com. And these are available for your viewing pleasure, and they're available free. And how often do you put these issues or pages out?
Well, we give a free page every Tuesday, and then every Sunday I do a write-up of basically what's going on. It's called Outside the Panels, what I do, but it's basically everything that is outside the panel, so it has nothing to do with the comic most of the time. It just has to do with what's going on. It's almost like a blog. I like to have fun with it. I get a lot of interaction, fans on like Twitter and stuff, but it's fun, you know what I mean? And I definitely think anybody who's into action, is into noir, and wants to laugh once in a while, it's definitely something that you check out.
Absolutely. I highly recommend people to check this out. I can definitely see this book, this story, this concept really taking off for you, man. I wish you the best of luck with this. It's a very, very, very cool idea. Now, you're doing some work. You have an original story out called Soul Men, right? So tell me about Soul Men, man. Soul Men is actually a concept that I thought about. My sister's 12. She'll be 13. But she was at a recital. She's in the band, and troupe, or whatever they call it, her band class, was... one day they had one of their concerts and they were playing Soul Men, but it was like the Blues Brothers version. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And I'm just sitting there listening, and then I was like, somebody should do a comic about it, called Soul Men. It should be about a guy and a ghost who, work together. And I'm like, wait a minute, I could do that. So this is also with Ibai Canelis. This is, the same guy who does See You Next Tuesday. We got into it and we wanted to, just get it out there. So what the story is Rigby and Cliff are brothers. Rigby is alive, but Cliff is dead. Cliff is a soul who's trying to get into heaven, but he was neglected by God because he was just a bit too blasphemous when he was alive with Rigby. And being that he had to pay his penance. Now that God knows that Rigby and Cliff both have their own penance, he put them together, and now they work for God as soul men. And what soul men are a group of people who guide lost and reluctant souls to heaven or hell. So it's a little, playing with religion a little bit, and the kicker is they are new to this business of soul men, and so they have an instructor, and they're
the supervising officer, who happens to be the king, Elvis Presley. So it's a lot of fun. The comic is I would say it's a horror humor comic.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Do you think it's or do you find it hard to balance the humor, because you have essentially two stand-up comics, so you're going to have to write in some jokes, right? I mean, these two dudes they're comedians.
Yeah, they were a comic duo. They had a show that toured all over the place. Now that one's dead, the other one's just kind of dwindling, but now that they're back together, I think that the key thing is to mix the humor of stand-up comedy into the humor of horror, because essentially in a horror story, while it's always serious and grim, there is a bit of humor in everything that goes on in a horror film. I mean, a horror film, if you look at it outside the box and you clip it around, there's a lot of funny moments in a horror film.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it is nice to break up some of the darker moments with a little bit of humor if done right. So far, man, you did allow me to read the advanced copy, and it's pretty good. I gotta give you props on your artist, man. Ibai Canales does a really, really good job with the pencils on this.
Yeah, he's great. But I always tell him my favorite thing about him, and the reason that I wanted to work with him with Soul Man, is because I wanted to keep it light. I feel that his facial expressions and the humor parts of it is just, he's spot on. I've never asked for like a rework on a facial expression ever.
And he was also the artist on See You Next Tuesday, right?
Yeah, which is a completely another feel. So like, I found a gem. He's a great artist.
Dude, big time. Dude's got good range, man. Right on.
And, Soul Man is going to be out in May. First issue will be out in May, and then from there on, we're trying to run on a 6-week schedule. It's self-published, which basically is a lot of work for me, but I love the work. It's going to be digital, and we're eventually going to collect the issues. But if somebody wants to buy an issue, they can. So that's the cool thing. It's just the hard part will be, getting into Diamond and all that, but I have a little bit of other things going on with Soul Man, which I can speak about if you'd like.
You're going to be published with IDW's upcoming Star Mage, is this correct?
Jason Della Torre, who's the writer of Star Mage, which was also a very successful Kickstarter, basically got the green light from IDW. He came across me, or I came across him, I forgot how it went. And he, saw Soul Man. He's like, "This is really cool. What's going on?" And said, "I'm just self-publishing, and I've been submitting it and just trying to just get feedback." And I've submitted it to IDW, and they, let me know what they thought and stuff. So Jason was nice enough to actually allow me to have 3 2-page stories in the back of Star Mage issues 2, 3, and 4. So it's something different. Has nothing to do with the story. There are 3 self-contained stories that are totally different. 2-page story is a lot harder than a whole comic, because you got to tell a whole story in 2 pages, which is 10 to 12 panels, so you got to really work. It's different, and I feel that each story did something different. Death is something that everybody has to be a part of, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. That's what Soul Man is. It's basically saying, there's a soul out there, they're going to try to help it.
And we can expect Star Mage, is it expected to come out, or Star Mage 1 is expected in April, is that correct?
Yeah, Star Mage 1 comes out in April. Pre-order it, because, we got to help each other out, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, I'll be pre-ordering it, man. I'll be putting it on the pull list.
Yeah, and it's a 6-issue mini, so, people will get an ending. And, like I said, Soul Man will be in the back of 2, 3, and 4. And I think that it's just a little taste of what Soul Man is, and being that I'm just self-publishing it. Come out in May, so it's a few weeks before the issue comes out that I'm in. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of different things that I'm going to be doing, and I think that people will appreciate something different. We want to go as far as we can, and if we can get picked up, then that'd be cool, but if not, we're still going to keep moving.
Right on, man. Best of luck to you. Star Mage comes out in April. If you want more information on Soul Men, captivecomics.com/soulmen, and that's Soul, SOUL-MEN. Definitely get out there, put it on your pull list, pre-order it, help a brother out. Cool. And then next on the list, you have Ninja Baseball, man. Now, I got to tell you, man, I'm a sucker for old school arcade side-scrollers, right? You're doing a comic based on Ninja Baseball Batman. I never actually got to play this. Now, I looked at some images, some screenshots from the game, and it looked familiar. But in watching a YouTube video of the gameplay, I have never seen this game, and I want to play it more than friggin' ever. This game is out of control, dude.
Yeah, it's sick. So, Drew Maniscalco is the creator of this, and he thought about it back in the 90s, and the late 80s, 90s. and he had this idea for a crazy side scroller that just involved this, baseball ninja guy who was going around just kicking butt thing with like baseball themed villains. His creativity was like absurd, and he had the company, the video game company back then, Irem, make it. It was a great game, but the problem was that back in the 90s, nobody appreciated it. There was only like 40-something stand-up copies sold to arcades in America, period.
Dude, this game needs to be on Xbox Live or
totally
it needs to be available, dude. I want to play this.
Dude, I played it on MAME and it was great.
If you listener out there have not seen a video of this game or are not familiar with this game, check it out. Watch a YouTube clip of the gameplay. You will immediately want to. If you like side scrollers, this game is out of control. It looks really, really cool. There's a level where, for whatever reason, right, they are fighting on an airplane, inside of an airplane, right, and they're still fighting the baseball themed bad guys, right, like baseball mitts and baseball guys with arms and legs, little baseballs, and the main boss inside the giant airplane is a giant airplane. It's an airplane. It's an airplane with legs and arms, and it's all over the place, man. It looks fun as hell.
You know what? It really is a fun game, and if people are into memes and stuff like that, they can definitely get it. I know a lot of people have modded Xboxes and things like that. They play it, but it's awesome. And Drew Maniscalco, the creator, actually came across my webcomic, Mighty Kale, Punchman, and Sir, and loved me and my artist Monique Blaze on that. And he actually offered us the gig to make a comic out of Ninja Baseball Batman, but he was like, I can't do Batman because of the rights of DC and Warner Brothers, so that's where the name change came from.
I was going to ask about that. I figured that may have been the problem, even though in the video game they do separate the Bat and the Man. But yeah, come on,
absolutely, everybody knew where they were going with it. Even Drew said, yeah, went that direction. But I guess back then, certain copyright laws weren't as prevalent as they are now.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, the game looks great. Now, but that's really cool, though. I wanted to ask you about that, too. So you are working with the creator of Ninja Baseball Batman, right? It's not like you're kind of doing like a fan thing. You're actually working with the guys that created it.
Yeah, I never heard of it until Drew pitched me the idea, and he was like, this is my idea, and he was like, I want to make a comic. He was like, I want you to be in complete control of the comic. He said, just stay true to the character and let me okay for it. I wrote scripts. We started doing the art, and we would always give it to him and get his response. And he loved what we're doing with it. Right now we're just doing, it's going to be a 5-issue thing. We're trying out a lot of new things and taking all his characters and all his little ideas that he had back then, and I'm putting it into a story because he always said, he never had a story fleshed out. He just had the characters and made the game. It's actually the 21st anniversary of the game, and the game had its little story, so what we're doing, reenacting the game, but with the story. So, you're not getting the same story, you're just getting the same plot, and I'm giving you a different story, and I'm adding characters, which was great that Drew actually allowed me to do that. I added a bunch of characters to help progress the story, and just make it a little more comic-friendly.
And how hard was it to flesh out a character that was just a story that is just so random, so out there?
It wasn't hard. It was more time-consuming because it was you have to make a character and make sure they fit. So, it's Ninja Baseball Man. He's a baseball player by day and he's a superhero by night. More of a vigilante because he doesn't really have any powers. And I felt that such an important person needed something, but what did he need? And Batman had Alfred. And, Iron Man had Jarvis. And I'm like, well, this guy needs somebody. And I was like, well, a baseball player needs an agent. So I created this agent named Atori. And Atori is the agent of Jose Majors, who is Ninja Baseball Man. And the thing is that Atori is also, not only is he a baseball agent, he's also the connection to becoming a ninja. So he has connections with Buddhist monks, basically. And that's where Jose gets to meet a Buddhist monk who teaches him the art of being a ninja, and that monk's name is Mumbai. And I think that that's something that a lot of new comics lack is, everyone's trying to figure out how a guy gets a power, but nobody, to me, it's never really fleshed out to the point where it's easy to understand. And I'm basically, with Mumbai, we're spelling it out. Like, Mumbai teaches Jose how to be a ninja.
Oh, yeah, totally. Kudos, man. How do you write a baseball player becomes a ninja vigilante? You know what I mean? And you managed to put it together so well. Ex-major leaguer gets, on the back end of his career, gets traded to the Japanese league, and it just fits very well, man. You did really good job with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to, do something different to get it out there, and then obviously, when he starts fighting off the zany baseball-themed villains, like, we're back in America, which I think is, stays true to the video game. Like, that's the number one thing I told Drew, like, I want to stay true to the game, because the game has a lot of fans. It's a cult following, and I know how a cult following is, and if you mess a little thing up, they recognize. And that's the one thing I never wanted to do, was take it away from the fans. I want to give them what they have, and I want to give them more of it.
Now, are you going to go into the origin of all these zany characters, or are you just going to throw it out there that they exist? Are you going to give them like a backgrounds?
Without saying much, in the 5 issues, it all gets understood.
Okay, so there's also a Kickstarter for Ninja Baseball Man.
Yes. Drew is new to the world of comic books and comic book distributing. He wanted to figure out the best way to do things, and he's been hearing a lot of comics through Kickstarter. And I said to him, Kickstarter is great because we can get the fan base to help us out. Ninja Baseball Man or Ninja Baseball Batman, the game, has its following, so we want that following to come to Ninja Baseball. And we think that Kickstarter is our best option. It's to fund, to literally print. That's the point of the Kickstarter. We're trying to print the comic. And what we're printing is the trade paperback of Volume 1. 1 through 5 will be digital, and then we're going to collect the whole thing in an exclusive Kickstarter book. So the Kickstarter book will have like little sketches. It's going to have notes from Drew, me, and Monique. After the Kickstarter, we're going to print a different book, which is not going to be as many pages. It's going to be the same story. It's just not going to have your sketches and your notes and your behind-the-scenes stuff. The Kickstarter for it goes live on April 1st, 2014, so just, this week. And, we're trying our best to do our media blitz. We're going on forums, sending out newsletters, going to local comic shops, and, just putting out promo cards and stuff. It's going to run for 45 days.
Yep, so if you guys want more information on Ninja Baseball Man, you can visit captivecomics.com/ninja-baseball-man, and you guys will be updating the Captive Comics sites with your Kickstarter information and links and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all going to go up on April 1st. Like we said, it's going to be like a blitz. We're going to be on Facebook and Twitter and Reddit, and of course on the site, so we can easily direct people to it. There'll be links all over the site to the Kickstarter. You could just go to Kickstarter and type in Ninja Baseball Man. It's going to pop right up. And we have a lot of stretch goals too, which are pretty cool. So check that out. Every stretch goal adds more issues, and if we actually can hit 25 grand, we're going to make a cartoon.
Very cool, very cool. So if you want more information on any of these books, you can always visit captivecomics.com. It'll link you to Soul Man, to See You Next Tuesday, to Ninja Baseball Man. Where can folks find you outside of your website? Do you have a Twitter page, a Facebook page?
Yeah, I'm all over Twitter, so you can definitely check that out. It's at SalVB, so it's SalVeyB. I'm on Twitter all the time. And as contacting me directly, you could always just go to Captive Comics, the contact page, or you can go to seeyouNextTuesday.com. seeyouNextTuesday.com is updated more regularly just because it's a webcomic.
Gotcha, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on and chatting with us. We'll definitely help you out in plugging your Kickstarter and your books. I have super high expectations for your books, man. They're very, very, very cool. You got some great ideas. You got some great concepts. And I got a feeling we'll be seeing your name in in the future for sure.
Thank you. I hope you're right. I pray to God every day. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Just when you get big and famous, man, don't forget. Don't forget the little guys like us, dude. Come back on. We'll interview you again.
Oh no, I'll never be too big to come back on. This is actually my first podcast that I've done, and I'm really digging it, and I really appreciate you guys' time and letting me come on and talk to you guys. It's definitely been a lot of fun.
Very cool. Okay, Sal, thank you very much. That's Sal Brucculeri from Captive Comics. You have a great day, man.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Relief Podcast.
We'll hope you join us next time as we continue to discuss all things comic book related.
And until then, make mind Marvel.
And DC.
And independent. Don't forget to check us out at comicreliefpodcast.com, or you can visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Comic Relief Podcast. Or go to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Comic Relief Podcast. And finally, there is our Twitter page, which is twitter.com/Comic Relief PODC. I'd like to give a special shout out to Travis Richards, who did the music for the Comic Relief Podcast. Visit his website at www.travisarichards.com.